Hi everyone who's watching this video. My name is Karina Ladet and I'm an intuitive channel and healer, and today I have the great pleasure to invite my dear friend Cora Flora, who's a musician and transformational coach all the way from Canada. So hi Flora, how are you?
Good, and I love that you just called me Flora. I actually love when people tell me that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it actually, to tell perhaps, I don't know, it's a silly backstory, but I actually did a past life regression where my name was Flora, and that was one of the reasons why I chose to integrate that name to this life as well, because in that life I played music intuitively and I connected with nature spirits and especially fairy music. I used it to heal and bless and inspire.
That's really beautiful. I didn't know, because I had no idea what your name was kind of, if it was but Cora is your kind of birth name, or?
No, my birth name was Courtney, but then it just felt like Courtney, and eventually I just, on my spiritual awakening, I wanted the sound of an open heart. So I changed it to Cora. And so for me, that's like an open heart, a roar. And then Cora Flora to me is like just a roaring, blooming open heart.
That's really beautiful. And it is really open. And yeah, I can't imagine you having another name actually.
I know, it's like an old version of me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And so we're going to start this interview a little bit differently than from the other ones, because I know that you, Cora, you really wanted to share some music. So I think that's a really, really, really good idea to just kind of come back into our hearts and open up so that you can enjoy the interview afterwards and Cora's awesome sharings.
Awesome. Okay, so here we go. Opening, asking, praying, surrendering. What is God's dream for us? How can we be in blissful service in our highest calling, to our highest mark? This is heaven on earth. This is what we came for. The glory is here now. The infinite possibilities, the powerful potential, all come from love. It is the answer, it is the source, it is the core of creation. It's time to allow it to flow into our everyday, into our every moment, into our businesses, into our purposes to live life. To give and receive infinitely. Love.
Thank you so much for that. Isn't that a great way to open up so that we can receive?
Yeah, it's nice. I love music because it's just like a boom. It's just an energetic, like, I don't have to interpret. It's just, love it.
Yeah, and you can kind of let go of your mind and you're like right there. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And so for those of you who don't know Cora Flora, she's an amazing musician and very intuitive, very creative. And I would love for you to share a bit about how you use your creativity and your intuition and how you tap into the divine multidimensional guidance to help you grow and expand your business.
Wow, that's an amazing question. For me, it's a journey of feeling, especially feeling my heart and listening to my soul. I feel like being able to feel and listen and go within is actually the key to living our dreams and the key to fulfilling our highest potential, because that's where the God in us lives and the inspiration in us lives. And that's where the energy that creates worlds lives. I feel like now in this time of awakening, we're shifting from a time when we were focused on the external circumstances and perhaps just playing a part in something that we didn't really have that much control over. But now we're in an opportunity in this evolution of our world where we can remember who we are and we can step into our power and we can share the full possibilities of the love that is so ready to flow through us even more.
Yeah, I love that, because that makes it so much more expansive, doesn't it? Because we didn't start our businesses, most of us, right, doing some kind of creative expression or intuition or any of that, because we just wanted to have a job, right? It's because we have this deep soul calling and the kind of that call that just keeps nudging you to do that thing, right? Like, even if we don't always get it, it's like just helping us to come back home again so that we can tap into that power. And I find that we have so many more resources when we do that, more support, more flow. I guess it's a really great way for the universe to kind of get us to actually tap into that, because maybe if we didn't have our businesses, we wouldn't feel that sense of urgency to serve more people, to have a bigger impact, to do what we're here to do. So it's a great opportunity as well, isn't it, to grow and grow and grow ourselves too. And how have you been able to, because I know you share a lot about your journey, your creative journey, your healing journey with your audience, like how do you incorporate that into your into how you do business, and how do you find the balance in how much you share, when, how do you do that?
That's a really good question. It's interesting because I feel like my healing journey and my spiritual, business journey, they're so connected. Like, I feel like, when you were talking at the beginning about like how we started our business and following that inner calling, it's interesting because for me, it was inspiration, but it was also a lot of pain. Like, I remember when I was first starting to awaken, it was because of a lot of depression and a lot of pain and a lot of like perceiving a lot of darkness and challenges around me. And I had to learn to listen to that light inside of my heart and follow it and just trust it. And the more that I did that, the more that it became stronger and stronger and stronger and opened up amazing possibilities. And what was the second part of your question?
How do you know like how much to share and when to share and what to share? Like, because there's an art to sharing in an authentic way without being too much or it being too heavy, or there's something, and when people get that right, you can feel it. And when it's not, something feels a bit off. So how do you do that so well?
That's a really good question, because I feel like for me, the key that I've learned that I would love to give to anyone who this can serve is just, it boils down to intention and prayer. So before doing an interview or sharing a song or doing a session or anything, bringing intention and prayer into it helps me to align with my highest calling and the highest purpose. I've definitely stumbled along the way of self-expression because I feel like there was many things that I needed to express that were dark and that needed to be said to heal. But now I'm learning that there are certain places and times when it's appropriate to share certain things, and there are other times when a more general, loving message is actually what's more appropriate. And one of the things that I'm now feeling inspired to integrate into the structure of my business or my queendom is having different tiers, like having a certain public element of communication where it's kind of okay for everyone. But then if people want to work deeper with me and do deeper healing work, I want to create a safe space where I can be more vulnerable, where they can be more vulnerable, and we can go deeper while also feeling really safe to heal.
That's really beautiful, because that's true too. Maybe you don't want to share everything with everyone, just like with your friends, right? Maybe your really close friends, you share really deep stuff, and with your not so close friends, you share the other stuff. That's really good. And it's great to be able to set your own rules. Okay, this feels good, so I'm going to create that. and this doesn't feel good, I'm not going to do that in that way. And I feel like that's a big part too, to really honor what's true for you, what feels good for you, and knowing that you can change your mind whenever you want, and that you don't have to, I don't have to do anything you don't want to, actually. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a bit different from any other business, right? Because because you can feel that when someone is doing something because they actually enjoy it and it's the right time and it's in alignment. And when we're doing things because we've learned that this is good business to do. How do you feel about how do you kind of move through every time that you're being asked to kind of take your business to the next level? Like either if it's like expanding your offers, changing something, making more money, reaching more people, whatever that next level is, how do you move through that time of transition? Because it's usually a bit tricky, uncomfortable, not so much fun always.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, right now I'm in one of those periods, and what I'm feeling called to do is really just ask God, divine spirit, just asking, what is your dream for me? Because I feel like that's really how to shift to the level of infinite possibilities and a level of support that's actually way more in perfect alignment. And I've noticed that, like, you know, a little while ago, I just said that prayer and I've been surrendering and surrendering and surrendering. And the right people have just been coming out of the woodwork to support the right opportunities. And I've been just really, really powerfully following my heart and just trusting that my heart knows the way. And if something feels good and it lights me up and it inspires me, it's good. And if something doesn't, I can just, you know, give it a rest, and maybe it will at some point, but, you know, just trust my heart, because I really feel like love is the answer. Love is the key. Love is the solution that's needed on earth right now. And the more that we let love be our guide in our businesses and our lives, the more heaven on earth this will be.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And I feel like every time we can infuse everything with love, because we're feeling it and it's just kind of pouring out of us, everything feels like a blessing. Like writing an invoice is like sending love, recording something, it's sending love, feeling love. It just seems to amplify somehow. And I find that that's when we can actually detach from any results, because it's like we're living what it is that we want to share and embody and be, right?
You're so right. And I love that, because I remember before this call when we were first connecting, you said, when we let go of the results, that's when we receive the best results. And I feel like it's because that's when we're making love the center and the core and the key. Because something that I was just kind of talking about with someone on a session today is we were remembering just the truth that, you know, when people have near-death experiences, like you can find them all over YouTube, by the way. People, if you're interested, go Google near-death experiences and find people's first-person account of what they say, of what their experience was. Because all across the board, you will discover that all that matters is love. Like really, when we come into that, everything's forgiven, we're loved, and the beings of light, or the angels, they ask us, did you love? Because really, that's what matters. None of them talk about money. None of them talk about success. None of them talk about material things. Like, these are great. They're fun to play with. But when we actually make love our goal, and love our intention, and love our highest calling, that's when everything flows into place in even more miraculous ways.
Oh, wow. That's so awesome. I'll have to Google that now, right? That's really cool. And that's true. And it's so good, I think, because sometimes I tend to get really focused on stuff and a bit obsessive. Scorpio. And sometimes I can get really obsessed with the goals, right? Reaching this and that. And it's so easy to get distracted when, as you say, love is the source. And that's usually why we even do business, right? We do this because we want to feel love, and we want to spread love, and we want to change the world through that energy of love. So it's so great to kind of come back to that and remember, right?
Yeah.
If none of this was here, then that would be the only thing that mattered.
It's so true. And really, that's like the ultimate goal. Like anything, even these goals, what we think we want, it's because we think we're going to be happy. And then, you know, there's going to be feeling of love and joy. And I feel like when we actually just allow inspiration to drive us, there's a level of happiness and love and joy that's beyond striving or stressing or trying. It's just like flying. And I feel like that's what I wish for everyone.
That is great. That is great inspiration and advice. And so for anyone who feels like you're pushing a little bit too hard in your business, you're trying a little bit too hard, and it just feels hard, right? Like pushing uphill. Come back to that. Like what would feel like, I was in the flow of love, and what would feel joyful and what lights me up? Because I find that that's usually the right direction, right? Like you said earlier, how do I want to feel? And when you tap into that, that's like the universe saying, it's that way. and then it's the trusting. Because I find that the more we trust, the more we can open up. Because we know from experience that actually trusting our inner guidance and what feels joyful and exciting and fun is leading us exactly where we need to go. It doesn't mean it's always going to be fun, but it means that we're kind of surrendering to that flow, aren't we? And then when we do that, that's when it opens up and you go, oh, these miracles are happening, and I could never have imagined that or, planned for it, right? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I'm loving this. And so how, because I guess that's the key, isn't it? To bring all these qualities that we learn and develop in our work into the business side of it as well, so that everything feels fun and expansive and loving, whether it's like posting something on Facebook or writing a newsletter or blogging. Like, how do you find a way that works for you to share your work with the world, like authentically? Do you set any, do you decide I'm going to send my newsletter out this many times a month, or is it really like all guided, or is it like a mix of both? How do you approach that?
For me right now, it's all soul guided, just because that's the only way that I can really pour my heart into it and have like a really good energy. Like I recently received the guidance that it's not so much about what I'm doing, but it's about the energy with which I'm doing it. So because of that, I'm just really listening to my heart and really feeling like, okay, what do I really desire? And how is inspiration really moving me? And how are the synchronicities really guiding me? And how is my heart like moving me forward? And I find that that's actually shifting my life into higher gear. But that being said, I also sometimes will get intuitive guidance about, okay, do videos 3 times a week, or do this, this many times. So I just follow that and trust it and do my best to honor what I receive.
Yeah, and that's really interesting too, because sometimes guidance doesn't always have to be this expansive kind of vague thing, right? It can be really like, do this, and very practical things. And I really encourage anyone who's listening to this, if it feels like your guidance is far from what is possible to do in business, like ask for exactly what you need to do, like, and that can be really, really specific information, I find too, because it's better, whatever helps us grow. And then yeah, and I find what you said about like the energy that we put into something is much more important than what we do, because I find that I can send out one thing, but there's so much energy into it, and it's going to have a much bigger impact than if I do that 4 times but I'm kind of half in it, because people can feel this, especially I think our tribes, because they're all creative, intuitive, and they can feel all this stuff. So you can't really fake authenticity, and you can't really fake love, and you can't fake like that really vibrant energy that comes through us when we're really guided.
I agree.
Okay, well, this is so great. We could talk all night for me about
Yeah, me too.
Is there anything that you would like to, I don't know, anything that you would like to encourage people to do who are to kind of take this one step further, if they want to trust their intuitive guidance more, or invite it more into their business, like the marketing or anything that has to do with business? How, like, is there anything that you can share that you think would be really useful for the people watching this?
Yeah, again, I would just invite you to invite God into your life, invite the divine inspiration into your life. So you can just say a prayer like, God, please use me. Please let me know how I can be of service and how I can love the world. And let the inspiration come, trust the synchronicities, trust what you feel, and then go for it. And I also feel that it's really important to bring intention and prayer into everything you do as much as possible, because that's actually going to accelerate and elevate and amplify your power to serve in that much bigger ways. And it's interesting because I feel like in shifting that gear from like personal to universal, or like, you know, human to divine, I feel like when we shift into that level, things just flow even more amazingly. And you might find that something that before might have seemed too intimidating to your human self might suddenly feel right. And you suddenly might know in your heart that it's right for you. And so just go for it, trust it. And your heart is the best guide.
Yeah, I love that. And that really resonates, because I know for me, one of the things that I did not enjoy for the longest time, I don't really like being visible. Like, I don't really like talking about myself and having to put up like photos and videos and all those things. Because I just don't find that very interesting. But being online, you kind of have to show people who you are. They're not going to kind of know you. And it's at some point, something really shifted for me when I realized that it's not so much about me, like me as a person. I'm here because I have these messages flowing through me, and I feel really called to share them. And if I can just kind of get out of my own way and just show up so that whoever vibes with my personality are going to receive the messages their souls need to hear, then, you know, who I am or what I look like or whatever is really not that important. And since I kind of got that, it feels so much easier now. And I just don't get caught up in the, I don't know, thinking and being like, oh, I don't know, is this right, wrong? I just kind of do it. And it helps me really keep focused on what really matters, which is not, you know, I don't know, my hair or whatever. Personality self, I guess.
That's so interesting, because I actually perceive you as so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So it's so interesting. You know, it's funny. I've been talking a lot about Oprah Winfrey lately because I'm like obsessed with her. She's one of my biggest inspirations right now. And I remember once she was telling a story about, or I don't know how it went, but basically there was a story about how she, at one point she kind of had thoughts about like, oh, I'm too fat, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. But someone was saying like, okay, I'm not articulating this very well, but basically the teaching was like, if she had let that stop her, we wouldn't have an Oprah, you know? And the truth is that our dreams are actually perfectly made for us. Like, we are actually perfectly packaged for exactly what we need to do. Like, there is a consciousness and a wisdom of creation that has designed everything perfectly. And really, it's just our job to just figure out why. You know, like, I feel like you might be, like, I feel like the way you look is actually perfect for everyone you're meant to serve. And I feel like the more that you just appreciate that uniqueness that you are, the more that those people are going to be like, wow. And the more you're going to love showing yourself.
Still
I need to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think we are perfectly designed to do what we're here to do. Like, what we've been through and the stories and the experience is exactly what we need to be right now. So instead of like fighting against what we've been through or what we haven't been through and thinking something's wrong all the time, that definitely brings the energy forward, right, in the right direction. Yeah, that's so interesting. I think I was reading something from Brene Brown too, where it's something about, you know, women, how we're always being judged on how we look. And we can never be right? Because we're always too much something or not enough of something. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know. I guess everyone gets tired of their own face sometimes, right? I'm like, oh gosh, another blonde girl.
What? Another Bond girl? What do you mean? Blonde or Bond?
Blonde. No, Bond girl. That would be cool. Okay.
Well, I do feel like something that one little point that I feel like can help people is just when you're radiating love, you are so beautiful. Like, when you're just radiating that truth of who you are, it's so gorgeous. And this is something that I've seen, especially with burlesque. Like, I love burlesque because it's this thing of women reclaiming their bodies and reclaiming their beauty on their terms. And I just love it because I find it so healing to see women that are like expressing their unique forms, their unique colors, their unique sizes, their unique styles, and they're owning it. And it almost makes me want to cry right now because I love when we're just owning who we are and loving who we are, because that is the key to beauty. And I've discovered that it's not even about the package. It's about what's inside. And when we let that inside shine, the outside becomes so gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, I love that story. And it's interesting because I don't think it really has anything to do with like looks. It's something, it's that energy. And that's interesting when you see people who've done a lot of like the healing work and who are kind of really aligned with their true essence because they glow. Like I have friends who are like in their 60s, 70s, and there's something so young and vibrant, and it's like they're just glowing, and it doesn't really matter. It's almost like you can't see their physical appearance because there's something else. It's like their souls are shining through. Yeah, that's a really good one. I think when we love ourselves like that, that's when we can kind of just really embody more of who we are, and also our calling, and also the work we're here to do, and kind of have that impact instead of feeling small. I guess it's like integrating our souls somehow, isn't it? Like bringing down that kind of cosmic divine goddesses that we are, no matter what we look like or how old we are or whatever circumstances we were born into. Yeah, powerful message for women. And this is something that I think is really exciting for this movement of all of us kind of doing business in different ways and embodying a lot more love in what we do, and more, I don't know, there's something really generous about it, and inclusive, and very loving towards ourselves and others. Is that it's like we're creating something completely new, like a new paradigm, a new way of working and having an impact. And it's so awesome to be a part of that movement, I find, and I hope that more women and men are gonna join us on this journey and kind of embrace their purposes even more.
Yeah, and I have to say, I just feel like something wants to come through, which is that purpose comes from feeling that deepest pain. And I really feel like in some of the dark, like even like I was bullied for being overweight. I have had to heal a lot of my sexuality, and there's certain things that I've had to work on that were actually some of my greatest pains. Mm-hmm. But in facing them and loving them and giving them space to just bloom into whatever they want it to be, I've actually found so much treasure and so many keys to my purpose. Like I feel too, like whenever people ask, oh, what's my purpose? I don't know what my purpose is. It's like, face your deepest pain, let go of the addictions, let go of the distractions, and feel what you truly feel, because that's where you're going to find the greatest purpose and how you can really serve people with amazing medicine.
Oh, that's a really powerful message, because sometimes it can feel really overwhelming for people who have a lot of painful stuff. It's like, because there's a time when you're just kind of wallowing through it, hoping that this is the right path, kind of knowing that you have to move through, but not really knowing what's on the other side, and if there is kind of hope and light on the other side. But it's like that there's so much wisdom and so many gifts in that.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm having a renewed appreciation for the darkness and the confusion, because just today I have someone who was asking for help, and she was saying that she's feeling depressed and nothing lights her up anymore. And I was kind of relating to that and remembering a time when I was in my deepest, darkest depression, and it's like nothing would satisfy me. Like even the usual things like TV or food or distractions did nothing for me. But then the one thing, it was like the tiny pinpoint of light in the tunnel, was Doreen Virtue angel stuff. For some reason, I wasn't even spiritual at that point. I was not awakened at all. And for some reason, that was the only thing that made me feel better. So I just like went towards that light so powerfully. And it ended up being like perfect guidance. And it opened up a portal to like discovering a way of healing and connecting with the divine that I treasure to this day. So I feel like if any of you out there are maybe going through a dark time and you're not sure what your purpose is, definitely just notice like what is the one thing or the few things that still light you up, and move towards those things, because they're gonna guide you. And even if it's an unorthodox thing that makes you feel better, like crystals or fairies or the Bible or who knows what it is, follow it, because it's guiding you. The light is always with you. The love is always with you. No matter what the illusion of separation might be, you can always reunite with it.
Yeah, that is so important. And also that when we first start out in this journey, the guidance is not always like a big angel appearing in our living room saying, this is your purpose. It's usually like that whisper, and you really have to pay attention to hear it. And when you move in that direction, even if that light seems tiny, it's still that first sign, and then the next sign, and the next sign. And that's when we grow our trust, right? And that's when the guidance can take up more space. I know when I teach people how to channel, they already kind of know how to do this, but I kind of remind them, it's like for most people, the first time they connect or reconnect with their guides, it's not a spectacular experience. It's like it's really soft, and you have to really pay attention to hear it. But then it's the trusting that makes the experience expand, and over time it grows. I think as quickly as we are ready to actually receive it and open up and trust and feel safe enough to receive whatever it is, if it's healing or guidance or, yeah, great advice. Yeah, we could be talking for hours about this. And so I wanted to, for you to share with people how they can find you and what you're up to now. I know you're working on your latest album, and so can you please share a bit more about your work, the work that you do, and where we can find you?
Yeah, thank you. I'd love to. So yeah, I have a new album called Illumination that's I'm aiming to have out by September 2016, and it's my greatest love in musical form. I'm so excited to share it with the world. And I also do transformational coaching, which you can learn about on my website, coraflora.com. And yeah, I'm also on Facebook, on YouTube, just feeling this inspiration to share lately. Like, I just feel like there's just all this energy that wants to come out. So I'm excited to keep sharing it. And yeah, I'm so excited to see how this program goes for you. I feel like there's so many people who are going to be inspired and ignited and illuminated and put on their path of creating heaven on earth, of harmonizing spirit and money and, you know, just like soul and wealth, so that we can really fully live and create heaven on earth for this and future generations.
Thank you so much. And for anyone who wants to like check out your videos, because you sing on your videos, you share really deep soul messages. I love your videos. Go to our YouTube channel, and yeah, I'm sure your work is really multidimensional and beautiful and heart-centered. So for anyone who needs support and who resonates with Cora Flora, which I'm sure many of you will, do get in touch with her. And thank you so much for what you said about my program. I'm super passionate about it. And because it's something that is so close to my heart, like sharing the tools that I've learned over time with like energy tools to kind of connect in with your soul clients, connect in with your business, doing like deep healing and clearings around any situation in business. Because when you first start out, I find we can be really enthusiastic, and then sometimes it can wear off a bit if you have like, I don't know, a couple of bad collaborations, or maybe you're not making the money you need to kind of support yourself or your family. Maybe what you're offering is not being seen as you would like it to be, or like any of the things that can be challenging in business. And I have learnt over the years so many great tools to kind of clear out the fear and the resistance, so we can really connect in more deeply with the work we're here to do. And also I love infusing lots of like play and joy, and yeah, I feel it's really important not to get too adult about business, because when we follow our joy, like you said earlier, it just helps us to really expand. And that's what kids do, right? They do what feels joyful, and when it doesn't feel fun, they go find something else to do. While we can be like trying harder, doing more, spending more hours, and then it kind of closes down our creativity and our flow. So yeah, so I'm doing that, and I'm inviting in some guest teachers, so there will be things about money and things about shadow work, which is so interesting because you were talking about healing work and moving through the dark stuff so that we can see the blessings that are underneath, and all the wisdom and experience, because this is what we can bring into our sessions with our clients, and it can always help and inspire others as well as ourselves. And then, yeah, and then I just infuse lots of love into my programs, and the women who sign up are usually like the most generous and heart-centered and intuitive, inspiring people. So I feel like it's also that invitation into really beautiful sisterhood, where we can share our experiences, because it's I do feel that support is such a big part of our business journeys, because sometimes we do work that not everyone does around us, and especially with the online world. I don't know about you, Cora, but for me, it's like I don't know that many people where I live who do this. So it's super important that I have people who get that, and who can give me the support I need, because they're kind of on similar journeys. So that's something that can be really, really helpful. So there will be links to all of Cora's offers and what I'm doing in my new program underneath this video. And do get in touch with us if you want to find out more, and find us on Facebook, YouTube, all over social media. And thank you so much, Cora Flora, for taking the time and for shining your beautiful light in this interview and for sharing your beautiful wisdom.
Yeah, likewise. And I just want to say one last thing.
Yes.
Which is my prayer and intention is that we all bring the love, the true divine love, the greatest power there is, into sexuality, into money, into our purpose, into our world, because that's really what's being called. I feel like it's all sacred, it's all divine, and it all is an opportunity to just shine.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. And so I'll be carrying that with me tonight, and I hope everyone else does too. Thank you so much, Cora, and I look forward to connecting in with you again.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.